This building is located in Valladolid, which is in the center of the region of Castile-Leon in the northern Spanish plateau at 700 meters above sea level. This is a continental climate with very extreme and hot summers, very cold at night, and also very cold in winter time. So we need to deal with that with the design. We started the design in year 2006, but it went through a period where it was sleeping, so to say, and then we started again because there was a funding opportunity with a grant from the Ministry of Science and Innovation at the time, and then we started with it. We got that grant, and we started construction by the end of year 2009 and finalized it in the first quarter of the year 2011. The thermal, of what we call the bioclimatic operation of the building, is very interesting because the building breathes differently in winter and summertime. This is a south facade, which is something very important in solar architecture in the northern hemisphere. And here you can see different types of windows. So the building breathes through this solar collector in winter time. So if there is sun, it is going to capture the heat from the sun, and then it will be used inside the building. While in summertime, the building breathes through this hollows. You can see here, these patios. We call this lucernaides, which is a mixture of clerestory, a clerestory that can bring air inside the building. So you can see that this is shading in summertime. Now we are in autumn, but it is still very warm. So this area is going to be cool and humid, and we are going to bring that air into the building. So that's going to help reduce the environmental impact of the building, because we will be reducing the demand and then we will be reducing the consumption. These windows are a bit special. We have seen from outside that they have a shading device that only allows the sun in winter time. But if you consider this is too much light, you can always shade it a bit more. This thing we're seeing now shades in winter time and in summertime if you have a lot of sun inside, but it's also used to improve a bit the insulation of the glass in winter time at night. The ambition of this building was to produce something as close as possible to a zero energy and a zero CO2 building, which is difficult, but a zero CO2 can be achieved, as we are going to see. It does have an architectural design that reduces the demand, and then it has renewables into it so that we can have that balance in the end. Our role here was to integrate the design process. We are architects, but with a view that also is an engineering view in terms of the energy that is consumed and from where we can get renewable energy. Our client got to us because they wanted to have a building of this type, but they didn't know how to do it. So we proposed this configuration, which is, I think it's been very successful, and they are very glad with it. So basically we led them through that process, proposing, for instance, to have the offices in only one floor and to have the warehouse behind the building with a central patio, what we call a bioclimatic atrium, and so on. So this type of thing we proposed to them, and they willingly accepted it. This is a very special building because it takes many things into consideration that you normally don't put in a business as usual design process. So that's the bioclimatic design, architectural design, as we've said, solar architecture, the use of renewables as well, but also the use of material, the use of water. So altogether, we are having a building that agrees with the typical checklist of the use of rating tools in terms of environment. This is a very special space in the building because it is the center of everything. I call it Plaza Mayor. It's the main, it's like a plaza. It's an enclosed space, but in fact it is like an open space, because if we want to have more light or more fresh air, we open it. Or if we want to ventilate it at night, we open it. But the very interesting idea of this roof, which is a very well insulated roof in fact, with 16 centimeters of insulation, is that the design of these openings is such that it does not allow the sun in summer. We are here on the roof, which is a water harvesting roof as well as an orchard. We have 12 centimeters here of insulation, underneath 45 centimeters of soil, while we have 14 centimeters of insulation in the facades and 16 in the other roofs. What you see here is the top of the part we saw at ground level. This is the top of a clerestory we call Lucernaire. We were getting the air from the ground down there, and here we are getting the light from the sun, but in a selective way, so that we get a lot of sun in winter time, but very little sun in summertime, while we get a lot of light every time. I think that rating tools are important because they allow you to go through the checklist and apply environmental design principles you may not have applied in your normal operation. As this is the type of thing we do all the time, because this is how we design buildings, in this specific case, our client didn't experience the need to officially rate the building. And this is why this building is not rated, because we already had everything in it. This is a project we are very proud of because we were allowed to do everything we wanted to do. And the result was that our client was very satisfied with it. They find it very comfortable. It serves their purposes. They can do everything they wanted to do with it. And it is cheap. We are spending very little money for heating and cooling it, which is very good because that means that it is polluting very little as well, with a very low CO2 balance as we intended. And also we think that this project is very innovative, but not because it has one thing or another. It is because all those things integrate into good architecture, which is very important for us. We try to demonstrate that this is a new way of doing architecture and that it can be done, both from the intellectual point of view and from the economic. And the result is something that is good for the environment and for the client. Everybody is satisfied.